Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sunrise Daily. I'm Chamberlain Osal.
It's a beautiful morning. I am Kayode Okikiolu.
I'm Ayo Makinde. Good morning and welcome.
Yeah, we'll start with the paper review today. And we've got Steve Nwosu here with us, former editor of The Sun newspaper, and now he's a publisher of Nigerian Express. Good to see you again this morning.
Good morning.
Well, let's see how the dailies reflect proceedings, presidency. Buhari has no hand in Sanusi's dethronement. As president commends Kano people for keeping calm. We didn't banish Sanusi to Nasarawa, Kano Attorney General. He said this much yesterday. Sanusi is a global citizen. His deposition an embarrassment to the world. Kwankwaso. Bayero ascends throne as Emir of Kano. Was solidly behind Sanusi, says Grasa Michelle. Sanusi appointed Chancellor of Kaduna State University, so a lot unfolding as a result of this particular case. The latest having been this perspective from the presidency, having been accused by Kwankwaso saying voice of, well, that they had a hand in it, basically.
Yeah, hand of his voice of Jacob.
Well.
Whatever it is. Well, it's, for me, yes, you can say the presidency had no hand. I agree with them, but they weren't aware of it. It leaves a little to be desired. It's not likely that they are unaware of it. Sanusi, for some reason, has been a thorn in the flesh of, maybe, do I say powers that be? Pardon me to use that cliche. And then people say all things about Sanusi, but like I always say, like we say, karma has everybody's address. So he has a way of getting around to everything. What goes around comes around. I'm not happy with what happened to Sanusi, but then for the presidency to say that they don't have, and I think they should have just kept quiet. Yes, it's within the purview of the Kano state government to the throne or enthrone an emir, but considering the place of the emir of Kano in the Nigeria's cultural and political equation, it's not likely that such a thing will happen and presidency will know nothing about it.
If the presidency knew about it, could the presidency have stopped it?
Sure, the presidency could have stopped it. There is nothing that Sanusi has done that has threatened national state security, peace of anything. It's just, I think it's just a fallback. He didn't, let's face it, he didn't support Governor Ganduje for re-election. It's very clear, and he had to pay a price for it. Yes, like Obasanjo said, he said what had to be said, but then he has to pay the price too. For everything, action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. That's the reaction to what I'm sure he knew it was coming, and he has taken it in good faith. That's it.
So you feel, yes, the presidency perhaps did not have a hand in it, but had an ear in it. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if you say so, I think so.
But, you know, if you say he hasn't threatened anything whatsoever, but there's a lot of backstory to some of these things. Now, already, almost immediately, I got messages telling me about a certain alliance for political groups wanted to support him for a political, maybe future or something. But doesn't this definitely put a nail in that coffin? Because, look, his ward happens to be in the Emirates. There can't be two emirs in the same state. So this puts a death to all of those.
If you ask me, I think he will be further belittling that institution to now come and say he wants to run for, is it governorship or what? Come on, he's been emir. For me, if I were in his position, my focus would probably be to regain the throne or whatever way it is. But to say coming into politics, of course, there'll be all kinds of theories going around and all that. Of course, would he make a good... there'll be a lot of sympathy and all that following if he says he throws his hat into the political ring. But then I don't see it. So I don't see the possibility so soon. I don't.
What about the Kadipa announcement, the fact that he was announced as someone on the leadership board of Kadipa. Do you see that in the same line?
The Kaduna, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see the El-Rufai thing is somehow there's a tune that's been coming from El-Rufai lately that everybody is reading to mean preparing for 2023 and all that. If Buhari doesn't, as Buhari is going, and then the system doesn't, the APC system is not too favorably disposed to an El-Rufai presidency, can he align properly with the South? He needs some kind of national. If you also look at what El-Rufai has been doing, there's a lot of national appeal that's been going on. It's good for him and all that, but then the Kaduna thing, yeah, that you have dethroned somebody doesn't mean that it should be the end of his life. Life has to go on for him, and I commend El-Rufai for that. For the appointments, because
2 appointments in quick succession.
Well, whatever it is, it's kind of the former emir needs some kind of reassurance that he's still part of us, that he has not lost face among the generality of Nigerians. He might have fallen prey to the victim to the politics of Kano and or whatever, and maybe even Aso Rock politics. But the truth is that he's still a popular person, and El-Rufai is, I think, latching onto it.
There's this component, the lawyers, his lawyers, had given the authorities an ultimatum saying if they don't do something about that banishment, it goes against the laws, and that they were going to challenge it in court. But other people think, look, they all know the tradition. So if they're coming up with this, they know how this is supposed to end, how this has always been the tradition. Why do they seem to be deceiving the public by saying you're given an ultimatum, do something about the banishment, when in fact there are cases and recent history where some persons have been banished and they still remain so?
Chabli, why is it that when it favors us, we quote tradition? When it doesn't favor us, we quote the law? If the way Sanusi was removed is there was everything about the traditional way of taking out an emir done? No. So somebody just enacted a law specifically to get rid of the emir, and then evokes that law and uses it to get rid of him, and suddenly you're talking of tradition. Well, since you have gone through the constitution, say you have done everything constitutional to remove him, you can jolly well go the whole hog by saying there's also nothing in constitution that says he should be banished. He becomes a normal free citizen of Nigeria. There's nothing that says he has to be banished. It's left for him to say, okay, yeah, for the good of this state, of this emirate, let me just keep away for some time on his own. On his own terms, not somebody forcing him to get out. There's nothing in the constitution that says he must get out.
You don't think constitution and culture has a mix?
There is they agreed they meet somewhere. Okay. But the truth is that if you have thrown constitution overboard and gone with if you have thrown culture overboard and gone with constitution, then go the whole hog. Then let's face it constitutionally. If it's culture, maybe somebody, they would have talked to, maybe the Sultan, talked to a few people and say, this your man is doing this way, can you talk to him? And they would have spoken to him and they would have found a soft landing and settled this thing. But since you have gone to your national state assembly, enacted the law and gone the constitutional way, back job, go the full constitutional way, and the constitution doesn't say he should be banished.
Well, who knows what will then happen, because when you say, for those who, some think, look, this may not be the end of the matter. Speaking to some of them behind the scenes, they think, look, the anti-corruption agency in the states are insisting that they will go ahead with their findings, perhaps prosecution, maybe who knows if the state government will wade in or not. But assuming they decide to go ahead with all of those, it's not the end of the story.
They can go ahead. They are already doing it. It's the biggest, case they have against him.
So removing him, being deposed, is not the end of the matter.
It's not likely going to be. Whether it goes further than this depends on also how he takes it. If he decides to go lie low now, and they might decide to let everything lie, and it goes like that.
If he lies low, would the court matter? Because he's accepted his deposition.
He has accepted the deposition, but it depends on his utterances thereafter. Like saying, I want to come back to... The thing is that it can be painful, a place you have... Yes, he even said, I would have wanted to stay in Lagos, for goodness sake. So why Nasarawa? And you know the kind of global citizen he is. And then by the time we go to court too, if I were him, I would even say go to court, because some of the allegations are rather ludicrous. You say he spends so much on internet. Even he's spending more on internet than the allocation that comes to the Emirate itself. And you're through banding figures about. Sometimes being the kind of person he is, he might say, hey, let's go the whole hog and prove some of these cases. But then you never can tell. Like Obasanjo once said, if you have been in government for 48 hours, there's always enough to put you in jail.
Oh, dear.
But there's this other angle, forgive me, Chemli. So on the one hand, Kano State government says, we don't want you.
Yeah.
And then next door neighbor, Kaduna says, welcome. Do you see any conflict,
It's what the conflict there is politics of 2023, the politics of APC, and there are so many things that are just, there are some governors that, I know that a governor that was in Kano for some time, for a long time, here and the man in Jigawa couldn't see eye to eye. It happens. There are things like all those peer issues, and then even if there are things that are happening in Kano that normally every normal person, if you put aside partisan politics and all that, that might not really go down well with you. But I think it's also the politics of APC and
But what has it
positioning.
what has it got to do with the politics of 2023 and APC politics?
Everybody is positioning. Buhari, yes, has had his second term, unless he decides to play to play the bad card by saying he wants a third term.
But he said
everybody
should perish the thought.
No. You see, sometimes it's not for him in his place to decide whether he's going or not.
But
sometimes
the law has already decided. As it is today, the law has already...
The same law that this law can be twisted and bent and reenacted and changed at any time. It's the same law. The law that took off Sanusi, for instance, is still being challenged in court. That is not even a law as proper as a law should be. So, and they have acted on it, and before you know it, somebody's fate has been decided with it. So if he wants, we can make noise, and in 2-3 days or 2 weeks, the National Assembly will change things and say you can run, and there's nothing. And but then let's pray that, like he has said, he's not going. Let it be so.
We've seen that happen before, and we know what came out of that eventually. So you're trying to say Nigerians should not get distracted here. There's a bigger thing at play.
Yeah, of course, there's it was even El-Rufai jokingly told us one time that when you see two public figures fighting seriously over issue, leave what they are talking about. Look, either follow the money or look beyond what is happening. So there is either money involved somewhere or there is a political office involved somewhere. It's not really about Emirate and...
Well, look at this one just above this lead story. WHO declares coronavirus outbreak a pandemic. CBN to fund local drugs production, specialist hospitals. Lagos State government quarantines 4 siblings, 2 others. Prepare for trouble. NNPC boss tells Nigerians. Nigeria shops for buyers for 50 oil.
50 barrels. Tankers.
Cargo.
Because I'm trying to make that.
It's scary.
And then
50 oil cargoes and 12 LNG cargoes.
12 LNG cargoes. So it's wow. It's really having a hit on the economy.
It's scary, you know, and what makes it more dangerous is our overdependence on oil. We've said it over and over, oil and all that.
Oh, okay. We're going to have to move on now to some others. Herdsmen have taken over our community's Delta Assembly. So this is also an ongoing matter. But if you take a look at the back page, worried sick coronavirus players union calls for total shutdown of football. That's what you see there. And so you could go ahead and see all the other stories on the front page.
I know you're looking for that Liverpool headline. You wouldn't find it.
Let's take a look.
Liverpool got thoroughly beaten.
Oh, boy.
There you go.
Somebody didn't say anything. Oh, my word.
Let's take a look at The Guardian. The big story. Why I couldn't save Sanusi by Buhari. Kwakwaso knocks president over alleged complicity. We've talked about that. Kano government not behind former emir's detention. El Rufai offers fresh appointments to depose monarch. New emir Aminu Adobayero receives staff of office. So much to talk about that. But take a look at this one right under the big picture. Government declares ASO strike illegal. And then there's another one, rewards Enugu Road for 29 billion naira. But that part where the government is declaring the strike as illegal?
Yeah, I heard the Minister for Job, Senator Chris Ngige, saying that yesterday, and I was laughing. His argument is that they didn't serve enough notice before, or they didn't even serve any notice at all. But you know what? Any union already that has had some kind of negotiations with government in the last 3, 4, 5 years is almost free to go on strike now, because you will check, you find out that after all the agreements, government reneges on something. They promise one thing, and the next time they set up a committee, look at minimum wage. After all the negotiation and everybody calmed down and they got their re-election, now they have thrown it to the states. Every state go and start negotiating. That is another kettle of gunpowder waiting to explode. So there are so many agreements that they've had with ASU that are not being honored, and then this is their pay structures, this is their salary structure that some are agreeing and some are not agreeing. You can't declare, if you say it's illegal, then go and arrest them or something.
Because that's what my hiding that fact that, look, this is not a fresh strike. This is the continuation of a suspended strike. They need to issue fresh.
So it's,
who knows?
It's semantics.
But, I mean, can we ever see an end to strikes?
No, until it's strike is part of a government-labor relationship. It's part of it, but then we can reduce it at least by honoring some of the agreements we enter into with some of the, and the ones that are not possible, we tell them it's not possible. Let's not play politics with all those things.
Okay, well, there's so much to pick from the Guardian newspaper, so we'll let you do that this morning.
This day newspaper comes next, and of course, as you can see on the front page, amidst oil price crash, FG says no cause to panic.
There's cause to panic.
Why do you say that?
Our budget was made on 57.
Yeah.
Oil is selling at 30. That is going to get down to 30. The NNPC man is scared it might get to 22. And our cost of production is almost 30 per barrel. So if it comes down, but what gets me laughing about all these things is that we make all this so sophistry about the budget and everything, and at the end of it, all the money comes in, we still end up going to China to borrow money for everything. So what do we even use the money for in the first instance?
Critical infrastructure.
Then there's cause for panic, because we have crude oil that we can export. Nobody is taking, they have bought, but they are not taking it out. And then we can't move from, we can't refine locally. So there's nothing, we are just, one day we will drink our oil. It's getting to that.
The Dangote has said, I mean, maybe by July they will start processing crude oil.
This is March. July is 3 months. It takes only 90 seconds of no air for you to die.
Okay.
We don't look forward to that.
Absolutely, certainly not. But who knows? We hope they're able to sort all of this out. Look at New Telegraph next. Oil price crash. Nigerians must prepare for tough time. NNPC. Oh, there. Ahmed, there's what? A severe strain on our economy. And Dangote, we must act fast on diversification. CBN to interfere in health sector. But if the previous paper says no, goes well, prepare for tough time.
No, both are correct. I think it depends on how you're reading it. Okay. Yes, everybody knows we have tough times ahead, but there has to be a way of calming our nerves. Don't panic yet, we can handle it. But then, like he said, like Dangote said, diversification, we've been paying lip service to it over and over. We talk of Outbreak. Have you tried to get a loan from a bank or anywhere in recent times? It's so tough. The paperwork alone, the farmers can't do it. The people who are doing that's the agri, they can't even do the paperwork. And then you get these loans and you pay.
Let alone the interest rates.
So I mean, UK just slashed it from 7.5 to 2.5. They cut 5% away out of it, and I mean that is the way. So you encourage people to produce.
Do you think we can never do that here? Given all the reasons they always give us?
I think we have to be very serious about diversifying our economy if we really want to diversify. It's not all just about anchor borrowers. There are so many things people need to do to create employment. Yes, Outbreak is core, but all of us can't be into Outbreak. There are so many other things we are doing which we are not making headway because of. Look at newsprint. Look at the way publishing houses are laying off people, and others, banks are clear. So one of the stories up there say mass sack looms. So you can't just be doing that. The MPC, when you move, slash this interest rate, make it easy for people to access these loans. It's not just there and speak English, and the same people are collecting. Look at when they were doing something about bad debts, you just saw a group of people just circulating how much more than 80% of the money that were given out as loan was with just a click of less than 10, 20 persons and organizations. So I think we need to take seriously this issue of diversifying the economy and look beyond this oil. It's not going to search for more oil.
Well, if you take a look at the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, you see something similar. Oil price crash to cause 3-month hardship, says NNPC GMD, pages 10 and 11. But see that story right next to the big picture. Bill to prohibit use of generating sets before Senate proposes 10-year jail term for just proposes 10-year jail term, I believe, for someone who breaks that law.
For offenders.
For offenders, right.
Yeah, it's a laughable thing. It's a direction that we should go usually. But then, the exemptions that are already been mentioned to the bill.
Oh, yeah.
Means all the big people that are making our public power supply not to work, we get exempted. To either use the National Assembly, for instance, we consider an institution that needs power supply for 24 hours, and then they'll be exempted. Maybe they find a way of making their homes as private interest becomes public interest. They have a way of approximating their selfish interest to mean national interest, and they'll be exempted. And it will be just you and I and the poor man on the street who actually needs the power that they will now say you can't also have generator. And then you now can't get public power supply. So it's either they do it a blanket thing and say even Aso Rock, don't you give them generator. Let all of us face what is happening. Then we can take the issue of public power supply more seriously. Because the moment you grant these exemptions, many of them we just go back to usual, just take us off.
It's a conversation that's been on for a very long time. But look at the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Family visits Sanusi in Away, among others there. But if you look right under the nameplate, coronavirus trouble looms in Nigeria as 50 oil cargo stranded. Kimberly mentioned it the other time. COVID-19 Lagos quarantines 4 children to others. Buhari OK's APC NEC meeting. So much to talk about all the time.
APC waters this morning.
We'll wish him luck if he tries that. But don't forget.
APC should put their house
Uncle Deep. So there you go. That's a look at some of the dailies here this morning. Thank you, Mr. Steve, for coming this morning.
Thanks, you guys.
All right, well, back in a moment. Stay with us.